On today's video, scenes from an Upper Michigan deer camp.
Antler restrictions, self-imposed antler restrictions that we've had through the years at this camp.
And a few tips on making your deer camp outhouse experiences a little better, right?
So we actually, my buddy Ronnie Camaro, he read this article and he showed it to us all at the camp. And it was on kind of a new type of deer management, and it's called trophy buck preservation.
Hand, get this gutted up. All right, what do we got here? Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah. And the main thing behind this trophy buck preservation, the main thing that you got to do is when you're out hunting, any bucks with 8 or more points, you got to let them go. So you let the bucks with 8 or more points go.
Get rid of the dead mice, that sort of thing. Another good tip is to throw a little baking soda down the hole every once in a while. Helps keep the smell down. One deer season, we tried throwing some of this scent killer down the hole, you know, thinking that would take care of all our problems. It says that it removes like 99% of scent, you know, but we threw a whole bottle down there, and I'd have to say it probably removes more like 5% of the scent. That would probably be more like it.
But even after several years of practicing trophy buck preservation, the deer herd here in Michigan's Upper Peninsula, it was still way down. You know, we still weren't seeing a lot of bucks here at the camp. I remember back then I had read this article that was saying like from 2010 to 2012, the deer herd had dropped 30% here in the UP. And then in 2013, it had dropped another 40%. And then in 2014, it had dropped another 35%. So, you know, leading into that 2015 season, you know, if you add it all up, the UP's deer herd was down 105% over the last 5 years prior to that. So the UP's deer herd was estimated to be at a negative 5%.
Playing cribbage next to the warm, soft glow of electric sex. The only thing worse than trying to take care of your business with a small raccoon down that hole is trying to do the raccoon rescue.
We thought, you know, if we can come up with something, you know, even if it's something that maybe could help increase the deer herd, you know, maybe bump it up 5%, at least then, you know, then the UP would at least be back to, you know, 0 deer anyways.
You know, one last tip, guys. You know, do not go with the bargain cheap toilet paper, okay? I know you guys are spending a little extra money during deer season. You're looking for some places to cut corners, right, on your spending a little bit. Don't make it the bathroom tissue, okay? You know, get yourself, like, some quality toilet paper, all right? I mean, just think about it, guys. The 1 week a year where you're on a steady diet of beer and curled meat, that is not the week that you should be skimping on toilet paper. Am I right? Okay. I'll give that big buck an hour or so until he's doing the dirt nap dance. I'm heading out deer hunting. Time to musk up. Now, you might be thinking I'm going to be using a doe urine like 10-pointer Tinder date, or even Big Buck Delight. Nah, this buck gets a special doe urine. It's called Promiscuous Doe urine, only available at Camaro's Crawlers. It's illegal in 9 states, in all of Canada. Promiscuous doe is the only doe urine taken from the most sexually active does, so you know it's good. It stings the nostrils in a good way. They've done studies, you know. 60% of the time, it works every time. If you don't think about it, it makes perfect sense. Let's go see if we can make that big buck grunt. Promiscuous doe. The only doe urine taken from the most sexually active does. And only available at Camaro's Crawlers.
I don't want to get lightheaded and have to puke and lay with my feet above my heart for like 20 minutes.
That did happen last time.
And that was with Skull Bandits.
And the new camp rule was we were going to only shoot albino bucks. And I know that sounds just crazy, right? But we did include piebald bucks, you know, the partial albinos. There's a lot of different scents you can buy, right? You know, like any kind of a smell that a deer makes out in the wild, you can buy that smell. I don't think any of us thought we were going to shoot any deer, you know, with that kind of a rule. But sure enough, opening day rolls around, and my buddy Spruce Hen that hunts with us out here, sure enough, he shows up at the camp with a 6-point piebald buck. I was shocked, you know. You know, there's like doe urine, there's buck urine, there's like deer poop scent you can buy. You know, I've seen like little bags of poop and stuff. And you know, I was looking at it as it was hanging there in the buck pole, and I gotta admit, I wasn't even sure that it was a piebald. I thought it was just a regular buck. But then Spruce Hen pointed out how the white markings, like on the underside of the belly, and then the white markings on the underside of the tail. You know, and I was like, I didn't even notice that, really. You know, you can buy like dorsal gland scent. You can buy deer armpit scent. For our particular area, I don't know how many deer that really protected, because, you know, once Spruce Hen showed us how to correctly identify an albino or a piebald buck, we wound up shooting 2 more bucks that year. Yeah, I didn't think there was that many piebalds around, but like I say, the rest of us really didn't know how to properly identify them.
Third day, more snow. Doe in heat, doe in estrus, you know, scent. You know, there's even like a pregnant doe scent. Mouse removal is a pretty important subject to me. Over the years at my deer camp, we've had a few mouse events that have gotten kind of serious, you know, and I've seen menopause doe scent. My buddy Scott out at camp, he missed a real nice buck with his muzzle loader, and really the only conclusion we could come to is that a mouse had messed with his scope. Yeah, that's a lot of snow. There was already 10 inches shoveled off it already this year. It's called Promiscuous doe, and you know, it says right on the bottle that this doe urine, it's only taken from the most sexually active does. You know, I think it's pretty potent stuff. You know, you got to be 21 to buy this. I know that. We'll get started with, you know, just this conventional mouse trap. And, you know, this is the one that's in all the cartoons. You know, you get your rut starter trophy block out there. You get all the bucks in your area. They're all hopped up on Viagra. You set it up like this, so of course, so the door's open. The mouse comes in, and he has to go to the back to get the bait. And the weight of the mouse
tips it, and the door shuts. So now you've got this live mouse in here, and you can take him outside. You can let him go, maybe drive down the road, even let him go. But it's been my experience that mice can't be rehabilitated. Only taken from the most sexually active does. The style I like to use is this bucket style trap. And of course, what it is, it's a bucket. You know, that night at the camp, we were having tacos, and, you know, Ronnie accidentally grabbed this. You know, it kind of looks like a hot sauce bottle, and he put a few shakes on his taco, right? And we just have a beer can for the spinning device. Of course, you know, at most deer camps, you can probably find a beer can if you look real hard. You know, you don't have to use the Miller Lite Packer commemorative can, but we do. I think he had like 3 bites of it before he realized that he was eating a deer urine taco.